also think that our childhood experiences also impact our journey of mindfulness. What I mean is that, like people who face depression,
Mm,
abuse, or racial injustice, like they have those scars, embedded
sure.
in their mind. And do you think that being mindful, not being able to forget those things and those scars still being there, I think the journey of mindfulness would be a bit hard for them.
So if you go into, the neuroscience of this and the way the brain operates, what mindfulness ends up doing is it helps to it reduces the size of your amygdala, which is the area where you have perceived threat. It also helps to create a connection between the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex. That's the area of cognitive thinking and logical thinking and reason. So that way you can jump into a perceived threat and look at it a bit more objectively rather than jumping into fight or flight response and letting your anger get the best of you. What you just described, though, is someone who maybe suffered some abuse and therefore their amygdala is kind of hyperactive, right? There's a great deal of perceived threat, and then the perceived threat then causes this major reaction of fight or flight, and it's due to the fact that they've experienced it. And so, if you kind of think of it from that perspective, it does in some ways mean that you're starting from a different place. Maybe that's a kind of a way to think about it, right? If the practice of mindfulness will help to reduce the gray matter of the amygdala and create that connection, if the amygdala is operating already according to, from someone who's faced some abuse, there's a different path to get from where they are to where we want them to be, versus someone who hasn't had that experience. So, in terms of how hard it is, it's so unique, it's so specific to the person. I know of people who have suffered some great abuse in their lives and didn't, while they struggled, just like anybody would, maybe their perception of it wasn't that it was so hard. Really, it comes down to the perception of the person. And then other people who it has been, according to their experience, very difficult or very challenging to quiet the voice in the mind and to calm the reaction and to face some of those demons that are within them. So it's definitely unique to the person, but I would say it's varying according to the person's experience and perception. And on the other side of it too, there are people who don't have that experience of abuse or really challenging childhood, who still find it very, very difficult because of other reasons, such as they have such a distracted mind due to constantly stimulating it through social media or video games or whatever it is, that to ask the person to come to the present moment is a big ask. So
Yeah.
that to me is quite fascinating in a world where there's so much technology that pulls our attention. That, of course, people who have faced abuse, that's maybe they require some more personal and psychological attention, seeing a doctor, things like that. If it's that traumatic, I would always prescribe that. But then we have this whole group of people where you wouldn't ever say they should go to a doctor for this, right?
Hmm.
But they clearly have a problem with distraction, and it's rampant in our societies.
That's true. But then, what would you advise people who've gone through abuse, or who've gone through some kind of trauma? Like, how would you suggest for them to gravitate through this journey? Any tips that you would like to give?
Yes. First, be gentle. That's the most important thing. Be gentle with yourself. Be kind to yourself. If you notice any judgment, any self-criticism, anything like that, take a breath and remind yourself that, remind, uh, keep this in mind. How you treat yourself should be at least as good, if not better, than how you would treat your best friend. we tend to treat ourselves
Mm.
poorly. And oftentimes with
Yeah.
abuse, there's this sense of I'm not enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not loved, I'm not, no, all those things. But that's what we do to ourselves. So my first recommendation is be gentle with yourself. The second would be don't put pressure on yourself to then try and master this in 1 week or 1 day or something. So let it be gradual progress in the same way that one doesn't go to the gym one time, do one workout, and lose 50 pounds. In the same way,
Yeah.
approach mindfulness or meditation or coming to the present moment as a gradual progression. So
Mm.
start small, sit for 5 minutes, allow yourself to be still, observe your breathing, observe your body, observe your surroundings, and if it's 5 minutes the first time, that's okay. And then you could always try to expand
Mm.
beyond that. So I'd say those are the two things: be gentle and allow the progress to be gradual. Start small and build.